Vancouver, Washington is in a very rare moment where multiple city-shaping projects are moving at the same time. No, it's not just another apartment building. It's not just another small road project. What we're talking about today is full district redevelopments, waterfront expansion, and transportation projects that will quietly shift demand across the city over the next decade. So here's what's happening. You have the Heights District at the former Tower Mall site in central Vancouver. You have Waterfront Gateway next to City Hall, where construction actually started last year in 2025. You also have Terminal 1 at the port, where dock replacement work started in 2025 in October, and that's going to be supporting a future public market here in our own Vancouver, Washington. And layered on top of all that, you have major mobility changes with the Vine expansions and the I-5 bridge replacement. Here is why this matters. Some of these projects will pull demand into new pockets, and if you don't understand where that gravity is shifting, it's very easy to overpay in the wrong spot. So some of this is real and under construction right now and happening, while some of it is still phase planning, let me remind you. And transportation changes the map more than most people think, because when commute patterns shift, buyer behavior and pricing zones are soon to follow. I'm Hayden Humphrey. I help buyers, sellers, and investors across Vancouver and Southwest Washington make decisions with real on-the-ground context and not just hype. If you want to talk through what this means for your commute, your budget, or neighborhood list, my info is in the description below, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the biggest redevelopment most people drive past without realizing what it's about to become. And what we're talking about is the Heights District. Now, this is one of the rare projects where the city controls enough of the land to shape an entire neighborhood and not just simply approve a scattered infill. So the core of the Heights District is a 63-acre, it's actually the former Tower Mall site, and it's actually inside a broader 205-acre planning area in central Vancouver. An interesting context most people don't realize, large cities almost never get a clean slate like this in the middle of the town. And once that land is fragmented and built on, it's nearly impossible to coordinate a whole district scale type of plan. And this is why I found it fascinating. The city actually purchased the property back in 2017 and completely demolished the mall in 2022. Now, what's the goal here? The goal is a true mixed use, walkable district. It's going to have housing, retail, public space, and overall better connections to the surrounding neighborhoods. Think of like mixed income housing and not just luxury units. Think local businesses and not just these big national chains coming into town. Think safer streets designed for people and not just cars. Now, the city is intentionally designing this as a 20-minute neighborhood, meaning daily needs are reachable without driving across town. Another fun fact is this is actually a phased redevelopment. Early work focuses on the city-owned parcels, the street grids, the parks, and the infrastructure, because the private development doesn't happen without that foundation happening first. Now, the timeline reality really matters here. Now, the Heights District Plan was adopted back in 2020 and is explicitly a 10 to 20 year build out. And to be honest, that's actually not slow. That's pretty realistic for a district of this magnitude. Now, if this does work, it's going to create a new daily life hub in central Vancouver, which is quietly going to change what parts of the city feel most convenient over that time. So why does this matter to you? Well, for one, for buyers, this is going to introduce a bunch of different housing types and overall walkability options that don't really exist right now in central Vancouver. And for sellers, on the other hand, the district projects like this often lift attention years before the prices move. Quite frankly, it's just something to think about. And for someone looking to invest here, the upside is long-term demand, but only if you kind of underwrite that deal as a phase and not instant. Now, some real talk. Before this does look like a neighborhood, it's going to look like a construction zone, and not just a construction zone, a 63-acre construction zone. Now let's move downtown. Let's talk about the Waterfront Gateway. Now, downtown Vancouver has grown tremendously fast, but for a long time, the missing piece has been that connection between the Esther Shore Park, the City Hall, and the Convention Center, as well as the new waterfront that we have here recently. And that gap matters more than most people think, because disconnected districts don't function as daily life neighborhoods. And I believe that Waterfront Gateway project is the city's chance to build that missing link as a real district and not just a couple of buildings that are scattered around. It's gonna really connect everything. So what is this? It's actually a 6.4-acre city-owned site, which is right next to City Hall, which, to be honest, is actually rare leverage for shaping outcomes in a community. Now, here is what's already real and happening. it's the first phase. Now, the first phase is a 6-story, 95-unit affordable housing project that broke ground in August of 2025. And that actually matters a lot because the affordable housing is often the hardest piece to finance. And when it goes first, it anchors the rest of the district. Now, another important detail, the original development agreed was approved back in 2023 and then amended in early 2026 due to kind of unstable market conditions. And no, it's not failure. That's just simply reality with development. The big mixed-use projects adjust as the financing and the economics start to change over time. Now, the city of Vancouver also pulled the large public plaza, which was under city leadership instead of tying it to the private development. But here's what's cool about it. The long-term plan of this project is going to include housing. It's going to include ground floor retail for local businesses, structured parking, and public spaces. And right now, Parcel 3 is under construction with a target completion in early next year of 2027. Now, the full build out, this is obviously an estimate. It's going to land us around 420 to 425 total units, but keep in mind, those are numbers and planning targets. Those aren't hard caps. Now, if this does come together, downtown is going to feel so much more complete and not just a destination, but a place people actually live day to day. So why this matters is for buyers, the downtown inventory and overall lifestyle options is going to expand. And for sellers, on the other hand, a more livable downtown, it's going to increase demand in nearby pockets without being in the busiest zone. And overall for investment, the new supply is going to add competition, that's true, but activated districts support longer and stronger term demand. But to be honest with you, phasing is everything here. And this plan has already evolved once, and there's a good chance it's going to go through and get pushed and actually get completed. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the waterfront in Vancouver itself. And what we're talking about is Terminal 1. So Terminal 1 is a different layer of waterfront growth. And no, this is not a shiny destination yet. This is the port rebuilding the actual dock infrastructure so the site can support a future 40,000 square foot over water public market right in downtown Vancouver. And most people skip this part, but here's what actually is the most important thing. The old dock was actually removed in 2024, which was the first major milestone. And construction on the replacement dock was scheduled to begin in October of 2025. Now, here's the interesting part. The dock itself, it's being engineered for long-term durability and obviously like seismic resilience. It's going to be a massive project because it has to support not just foot traffic, but permanent structures over the water. Now, here's the real timeline according to the City of Vancouver website. 2024, the old dock was removed. October 2025, the dock construction begins. 2025 through 2026 is kind of the phased dock construction. And then the late 2026 to 2027, there's dock completion and system finishes, assuming everything stays on track as planned. And the port itself has stated a goal of opening the public market around the year 2030. And important clarification here, 2030, the year, is a target and not a promise. And the waterfront projects almost always move in stages. First, there's funding, there's design, there's partnerships, and those all affect timing with project completion. And the key takeaway is this: the dock work starting in 2025 makes that market possible. Without it, nothing really happens. Now, if this all comes together, fingers crossed, the Terminal 1 is going to become a year-round anchor and not just that summer stroll spot. Now, for buyers, year-round activation matters more than views alone. And maybe you're not looking to live in downtown Vancouver, but Canaminster, Battleground, or Richfield, any other area, this is going to be a huge and new attraction in downtown Vancouver. And on the flip side of that, for sellers, obviously, destinations are going to anchor buyer searches in and around the access and the experience that's going to be happening in downtown Vancouver. Now, I want to remind everybody, keep in mind, this is a disruptive, multi-year construction, and a lot could change over time. Now, there are so many massive developments going on here in Southwest Washington and Vancouver, but also smaller developments that are happening in the suburbs. If you want in the know of what's actually happening, you're welcome to reach out to me. Or maybe you're in the preliminary stage of thinking about moving to Southwest Washington. I made an awesome relocation guide. My wife and I worked really hard on this thing, and you are welcome to download it below. Just go ahead and click the link and you're able to download it. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the I-5 bridge replacement. Now, this isn't just a new bridge. It's going to be a full I-5 corridor overhaul. between Vancouver and Portland. And from my understanding, the project is going to span all the way from Hayden Island over to the Evergreen Boulevard with a total cost estimate between $5 and $7.5 billion. Now, I have heard estimates going a lot higher than that, the $10 to $13 billion range, which is wow. And my question is how are they going to fund this? What I learned is the funding is going to include federal grants and Washington and Oregon contributions and future tolling. Now, a major milestone actually happened back in January of 2026, just a few weeks ago, when a fixed span bridge design was actually approved, which was a huge milestone and a clearing for a major regulatory hurdle. And there was a lot of doubters, but hey, it actually got approved. And that decision matters more because it actually locks in direction and allows the design and the project to slowly move forward. Because let's be honest, this is a massive project. Now, no, I'm not an engineer, but the replacement, from my understanding, it's going to include a few different things: seismic resilience, a light rail, and potentially a multimodal infrastructure. Now, commute reliability often matters more to buyers than commute distance. And when that confidence, when it seems to improve, that demand is going to migrate. And if you live in Vancouver and cross the river regularly, this project is going to reshape daily life more than almost anything else. And to be honest with you, the direction is clear. The lived experience is definitely going to be messy for a few years, so keep that in mind. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is what's known as the Vine. Now, Vancouver has grown to the point where everybody is driving everywhere and it's creating constant friction. Now, the Vine is the city's bet on reliable, high-frequency transit corridors. So here's what's happened. The Mill Plain Red Line opened back in 2023, and the Highway 99 Purple Line is actually under construction and expected to open up in 2027 in just a year or two. And an interesting pattern we see in markets like this is the transit corridors, they don't instantly raise the prices, they quietly change where people are willing to live over time. And these lines are going to reshape which corridors feel easiest and the most flexible to be a part of. And no, not every single buyer is going to value transit, and where the stations are at, being adjacent to them is not always a win. What's gonna matter is micro location with this. So right now for buyers, with that being said, it's important to separate what's real now from what's still a concept. Buy for your commute today with awareness of where that demand could potentially shift. And for sellers, development changes perception first and pricing later. It's important to sell the lifestyle without hiding the construction reality of what's going on the ground. Now, I know that there are so many projects going on, it's honestly difficult to keep track of. I feel like every suburb has housing going on, new retail developments, different things happening with utility lines and transit and overall commute times. And over the years, I've actually talked to a few locals about all the development going on. And to be honest with you, some people are really happy and thrilled. Hey, more stuff to do. It's going to raise prices. It's going to bring more attraction here. And overall, it's a good thing. While others, on the other hand, are saying, no, this used to be a small community. This used to be a small town, a small suburb, whatever it is. I don't like all the change. But here's the reality. Change and development is going to be here whether you like it or not. And personally, I think of a place like Boise, Idaho. Now, if you visited a place like Boise back 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot to do. It was a small town. It was kind of boring. And honestly, the population there was not a huge size. Now, fast forward to 2026, a place like Boise is a hot spot. And what happens is so much attraction comes in, more people move in, there's better job stability, prices go up, and it's overall a better place to live, generally speaking. Now, if you're buying in Vancouver and want to target the pockets that benefit from all these projects without getting stuck in the wrong phase, you are welcome to reach out and we can go ahead and map it out for you. I've hopped on many Zoom calls where I literally pull up a map and we go through neighborhood by neighborhood, me explaining and answering any questions about these specific areas. Now, on the other hand, if you're selling and you want to position your home around where demand is shifting next, I can definitely help you with pricing and marketing the property with real context of what's actually happening and what buyers actually care about. I'm Hayden Humphreys, Southwest Washington real estate broker, and you are welcome to tell me the area you're looking at and your price range, and I will walk you through what buyers are doing in these exact pockets and how these projects could shape it over the next few years. Thank you for watching.